We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. And while all eyes are in Los Angeles and New York for the World Series, while all eyes are on the National Football League, we wanted to take a second to talk about another sport that has started this October, and that is the NBA. And there has been a ton of storylines that I wanted to get into this weekend because it might get lost as the season goes on and some special things happen, some injuries happen, some surprise teams take over, some good teams come back down to the pack. The beginning of the season of the NBA is always really interesting. We see a lot of new faces, we see new rules, we see new jerseys, but this past opener, we saw something that we've never seen before, at least in the NBA to this level. Now, if you're a fan of all sports and a historian of sports, you obviously know about the Griffies, junior and senior, and what they did for Seattle. Well, the NBA had their miniature version of that, if you will. And that is Bronny James making his debut with the Los Angeles Lakers and played alongside his dad, who just so happens to be one of the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest, second greatest, whatever you want to put him, in LeBron James. And it was a special moment. It was a moment I think a lot of people want to poo-poo or want to overhype instead of really enjoying what it was in that moment, because it was special. It's a testament to Bronny James and the determination, the hard work, the knowledge that being a Nepo baby, and this is not a dig against him for being that, but knowing that he was born with certain advantages and took advantage of it and doesn't seem to take that for granted. But this is more for LeBron, for lasting 20 years, for being as good as he is. This isn't a charity case for LeBron James. This isn't the NBA trying to do him a favor because they like him and they think it'll be great for ratings. It will be great for ratings. Nike will make a lot of money for this. But LeBron is still playing like one of the best players in the league. LeBron, along with AD, is going to give the Lakers a real chance to compete in the Western Conference and in the NBA Finals. This is something where I do believe that if Bronny was named something else, he wasn't a James, he would just be a second round player who might play in the NBA, who might not, who would get minutes, who will not. But that moment in time, that season opener, was awesome. And that's all it needs to be. Doesn't need to be any more than that. And we don't need to put anything more on Bronny. And for that fact, LeBron. And this story came out from ESPN. I want to talk to it just a little bit. It comes from Shams Charania and Dave McMenamin. Bronny James set to go between Lakers and G League after trip. Los Angeles Lakers rookie Bronny James is expected to travel on the team's upcoming trip from Monday to November 6th, and then begin shuttling between the active roster and the franchise's South Bay G League affiliate, though Coach JJ Redick said those plans could change. And the article continues, the LA Lakers defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in Tuesday's season opener, making history as LeBron James and Bronny James become the first father-son duo to play an NBA game together. On Friday night against the Phoenix Suns, Bronny dressed but did not play in the Lakers' 123-116 victory at Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers host the Kings on Saturday before traveling to Phoenix, Cleveland, Toronto, Detroit, and Memphis. Quote, our plans are always fluid based on real time, Redick said before the game Friday. Quote, I believe we have two guys dressing today that as of yesterday were not dressing out. The plan for Bronny to move between the Lakers and South Bay has always been the plan since day one. General manager Rob Pelinka and I have talked about that. LeBron's talked about that. JJ continued. And you can check out the entire article over at ESPN.com. So right there, it's something that I think I addressed here on the Sports Cubicle, Sports from the Couch, months back. That this moment would come, he would play some games, and then he would do what normal second rounders, late first rounders do. He would go between the G League and the NBA. He's going to learn. He's not going to play a lot, especially if the Lakers are competing. JJ is trying to establish himself as a head coach. LeBron only has X amount of seasons left. AD only has X amount of seasons left on those knees, those legs, that body. So they're going to do what they have to help develop Bronny and try to win at the same time. So I think all in all, a cool story. I could understand some of the people who have a side eye towards it because of the hallmarkiness that Nike does and just shoving it down your throat and ESPN, but to just take a step back, whether you're an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a mother, father, or grandparents, an athlete, the idea that this superstar who has stayed out of trouble, who's always stayed out of the headlines, who's always done everything right, has fulfilled his destiny. And the thing that we put upon him as the chosen one has lived up to all of that, made it so far and did so well that he was able to stay in the league long enough that his son would be able to play alongside him. And to Bronny's credit, before he had that cardiac arrest, that scary cardiac arrest, don't forget that that happened to that young man. He was one of the highly scouted players coming out of high school. So it's not like it's not like he's a scrub. He wasn't. But we got to see that LeBron James did that. And it would have been cool if we have got to see other players get to that. It would be cool if we got to see that more often as somebody who's a softie like me. But I think all of it could be true. Enjoy it, laugh at it, hate on it, embrace it, but acknowledge that it is a great sports moment in sports history. We want to know your thoughts. Bronny and LeBron have finally played together. Bronny going to be doing split trips between the G League and the NBA. We want to know all your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike and Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. Check out the podcast. If you've missed any one of our segments over at WCPT SoundCloud, WCPT 820, just search the Sports Cubicle. And of course, check us out over at the mothership at heartlandsignal.com. Thank you for all the support of Lucha Dog. We have done some amazing sales and doing some great stuff. Production for Lucha Dog 2 has started. So check us out over at luchadog.com or buy your copy right now as the holiday season is around the corner at Amazon just by searching Lucha Dog. And if you want more Bears content, EJ Snyder, Kieran Hall, Mike Mercado, bring it to you, brought to you by Blue Wire Podcast Network. It is Bear Era. We have had some amazing guests, and it keeps on rolling because our latest guest was JT O'Sullivan. Yes, that JT O'Sullivan. Check it out. We talked about the Commanders and the Bears. We had a whole lot left on this edition of the Sports Cubicle, a whole lot left in the National Basketball Association. Stay right here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.